Oh, it didn't. I'm sorry. I thought the intro was going to play. My fault. So, anyways, let's get right to it. I forgot we did news from the pew. I took out the intro just so that well, it's not Clown Planet. So, my apologies. Here we are. Let's go right to it. Donor organs are too rare. We need a new definition of death. I'm thrown off because the intro didn't play. I'm sorry. Off Guardian reported, just when you think our Orwellian world can't get any worse, you see an opinion piece that promotes changing the definition of dead to include people who are, checks notes, alive. Donor organs are too rare. We need a new definition of death. Here is the article. Read the article, archive, no paywall. It's as bad as you think. Please click that. People die in many ways, but in medicine, there are only two reasons a person can be declared dead. Either the heart has stopped or the brain has ceased to function, even if the heart is still beating. A person may serve as an organ donor only after being declared dead. Until then, transplant surgeons are not allowed even to interact with a dying patient. This commonsensical rule underpins organ donation in the United States and many other countries. Most donor organs today are obtained after brain death, defined by most state laws as a condition of permanent unconsciousness, with no spontaneous breathing, no response to pain, and no primitive reflections. In other words, devastation of the whole brain. Organs obtained this way are often relatively healthy because brain dead patients can continue to circulate blood and oxygen. Let's see. The need for donor organs are urgent. An estimated 15 people die in this country every day waiting for a transplant. We need to figure out how to obtain more healthy organs from donors while maintaining strict ethical standards. New tech can help, but the best solution we believe is legal. We need to broaden the definition of death. Consider how things currently work. If in the procedure known as donation after circulatory death, a typical donor is in an irreversible coma, say a drug overdose or a massive cerebral hemorrhage, and the heart is beating only because of life support. The donor is still not legally brain dead. He or she might have, say, a gag reflex or other primitive functions. In such cases, with the blessing of family, the donor is brought into an operating room and life support is carefully withdrawn. If, as expected, the removal of life support results in stoppage of the heart, surgeons will wait long enough to determine that the stoppage is permanent to be confident of death, but not so long that the vital organs get damaged. This period is typically about 5 minutes. Then the surgeons start harvesting the organs. But even a few minutes of the stopped heart can result in damage to the organs. This deprives potential recipients of healthy organs. That thwarts the wishes of donors to have their organs used to help others. Fortunately, there's relatively new method that can improve the efficacy of donation after circulatory death. In this procedure, which is called normothermic regional perfusion, doctors take an irreversible comatose donor off life support long enough to determine that the heart has stopped beating permanently. But then the donor is placed on a machine that circulates oxygen-rich blood through the body to preserve organ function. Donor organs obtained through this procedure, which is used widely in Europe and increasingly in the United States, tend to be much healthier. But by artificially circulating blood and oxygen, this procedure can reanimate a lifeless heart. Some doctors and ethicists find the procedure objectionable because in reversing the stoppage of the heart, it seems to nullify the reason the donor was declared dead in the first place. Is the donor no longer dead, they wonder? How to resolve this debate? The solution, we believe, is to broaden the definition of brain dead to include irreversibly comatose patients on life support. Using this definition, these patients would be legally dead regardless of whether a machine restored the beating of their heart. So long as the patient is given informed consent for organ donation, removal would proceed without delay. The ethical debate about normothoracic regional perfusion would be mute, and we would have more organs available for transplantation. Understandably, some would worry that doctors will prematurely pronounce a patient irreversibly comatose when in fact the patient is not, or there is generally hope for recovery. You don't say. This is rare, but it can happen, especially when they have money involved, as recently documented by the Times. And when it does, it is catastrophic. No kidding. That sort of concern, however, is about practicalities such as whether doctors are following protocol properly and whether external pressures are creating perverse incentives for doctors and other medical workers to be careless. Again, as the guy said, it's worse than you think. And on top of it, I saw a couple people posting about it. If you have, I don't think regular news has talked much about this essay. But again, the solution is just not being an organ donor. Go to your DMV right now and make sure you take that off. If they ask why, tell them. In distraction news today, a massive metallic UFO orb was spotted over a volcano in Mexico. Locals claim it's been going on for years and allege there's an alien base inside Pico de Orizaba. JD Vance says he's focused on UFOs and will use the August recess to dig into, quote, the UFO thing from last year. Quote, what were those videos all about? What's actually happened? I haven't gotten to the bottom of it yet, but we're only 6 months in and we've been very busy. So again, can't believe everything you see on video because AI can make anything. Trust me. If this idiot can make an AI video, and I have people that have better talent than I can surely do. And JD Vance, who as vice president, you have only one job, and it's to be the tiebreaker vote, and that's it. You get that heartbeat away thing. He has absolutely zero power outside of that and zero any kind of job description. So, yeah, I guess he's going to go into the UFO things because he has time on his hands. We've been busy. No. You've been told what to do or maybe get on TV shows or anything like that, but he ain't been busy. Trump unveils, and I talked about this last week twice. Trump unveils digital health network with tech giants, pledges to modernize U.S. medical system. I'm bringing it up again because I don't know if people get the gravity of what this is. This is pretty much the vaccine passport system that's coming in. There should be more talk about it. None of the cheerleaders online are even touching this. But just to let you know, Trump did this last week to, like I said, it's like the Star Wars thing. Hey, that goes liberty to the roar for the applause. MAGA people are jacked about it because it's not. If Biden or Obama did this, the same people that have got their nose the brown nosing Trump right now and are just the cheerleaders online, you know where they are. They're in the photo with the binders, all those guys and more. They'd be just furious about what's going on. Yet, because their guy did this, it's quiet. And that's why he's in. That's literally why he's in, to get this in here. RFK Jr.'s HHS releases bizarre, quote, a vision of the future video promoting AI assistance in health, QR codes at doctor's offices, and AI that helps you manage medications. Here's the new, what is she? She's the new director of Doge, I think it is. I can't remember. No, she's the new something on health, which is there's Dr. Oz. Again, all this is in the show notes. Watch this and the other videos I have on it. I could easily make this to a 4-hour show just on this topic. So yeah, they're wanting you to scan your phone just like you're going to an airport. And this goes into when you go to the doctor's office. So it all pops up right there. And yes, I know everyone would use QR codes. And that was pretty much during the Rona scam that QRs were introduced into modern society. And old people, the Waffle House has it. You go anywhere, everyone's got a QR. Everyone knows how to use a QR code now. By the way, does she look like a bill of health to you? She's part of the HSF somehow. well, yeah, it's easy to get in and change, the hack QR codes and things like that, and the security part of that is not there. And it's let's stop waiting, let's stop faxing, let's start building. It's Shannon Joyce. It's horrifying what's being put down in here. And here she is here, Amy Gleason. That's it. Access to information shouldn't be a luxury. It should be a standard. Come join this movement with us at cms.gov. Let's kill the clipboard and axe the facts. Let's help make health tech great again, or in this case, maybe it's for the first time. And here's a little bit of a Flippa is ready to kill the clipboard. Today, we're announcing that we've been selected as CMS aligned network, only adopter alongside Apple, Google, OpenAI, Aetna, Elevance Health, Epic, Oracle, and other leading payers, providers, and applications. It's like lions with tigers and bear. Oh my, that litany of evil in a sense. But yeah, this went down last week and barely a peep from anybody. Doge lied. Expert floored as blistering report finds Musk team blew billions. Now, plenty of people have talked about how all the savings that they were talking about were just made up numbers. There's nothing to go back it up with, which we talked about that before, especially on News from Pew, when they brought it down and said it was really like, what was it, 200 million that was used. But then the next day they go, hey, we'll give it 1 trillion to the DOJ and the DOD. I'm like, okay, well, there goes that savings, blah, blah, blah. No, they just made this stuff up. And as it says here, wasn't so efficient at all. In fact, the extraordinary wasteful, according to the Thursday report by the U.S. Senate's Investigations Subcommittee. When Elon Musk spent the early part of this year ransacking the federal government, the billionaire promised that his mass layoffs of federal employees, his choking off of critical foreign aid, and his gutting of consumer watchdogs all served a greater purpose, saving the government and, by extension, the American people money by rooting out waste. Musk has already been known to widely exaggerate the amount that his initiative was saving the public. Government spending in 2025 has been higher than previous years, despite Musk's dramatic cuts. There is tracking federal expenditure in real time. Has not even stopped. Here's HuffPo. Doge has wasted billions paying people not to work, report finds. Democrats did the math. That doesn't mean it's perfect or anything. Just check everything anyways. On Doge's war on waste, it's costing Americans $21.7 billion, they concluded. Trump admin is to withhold disaster funding for states, cities who boycott Israel. So Israel first again. This is crazy town. Trump's administration conditions $1.9 billion of FEMA disaster preparedness funds on states and cities not boycotting Israeli companies. States must certify they will not sever commercial relations specifically with Israeli companies to access grants for search and rescue equipment, emergency management salaries, and backup power systems. Policy targets the boycott, divestment, sanctions, the BDS movement, which Kristi Noem's spokesperson labeled anti-Semitic, stating DHS will enforce all anti-discriminatory laws and policies, including as it relates to BDS movement, which is expressly grounded in anti-Semitism. With 34 states already enforcing anti-BDS laws, the requirement is largely symbolic. Most states, including New York City, slated for $92.2 million in terrorism prevention funds, must comply to receive their share of $553.5 million allocated based on terrorism risk. Great googly moogly. Again, more people have been arrested for criticizing Israel than have been arrested for the Epstein report. Got to bring up the Epstein. I don't have any Epstein news in this one. Ghislaine's going to get pardoned probably, and she's at Club Fed down in Texas. And they're probably going to make her a victim. She's probably the head person, the whole thing. They're going to make her a victim. You talk about cover up. Here's DJT says he will allow refugees from Ukraine to enter the U.S. Now, I thought it was across the board. We're not going to do any refugees. All of a sudden, it's the wannabe Israel country. Remember, Zelensky says they want to be the big version of Israel. Now, guess if you're from Ukraine, you get to enter the U.S. without no problem, anything. Maybe they're going to take over for the Mexican illegals. Trump deploys nuclear subs in response to Medvedev's tweet. The peace president, American president, has condemned what he called foolish and inflammatory statements, not that he's ever done any of that, by the former Russian leader. Former. What does the word former mean? It means not that leader. He's not in charge. He's not in the position. He's at the beach having a Mai Tai, sends a tweet, and Trump throws his nuclear subs over there. What? Trump said Friday that he has ordered 2 nuclear submarines. And by the way, he said we're ready for nuclear war, Mr. Peace President, citing social media comments by former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. Trump announced his decision on his Truth Social platform that he owns, condemning Medvedev's highly provocative statements and claiming the words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. I've ordered 2 nuclear subs to be positioned in the appropriate regions, just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just that, the U.S. president. Because of a tweet, he sends nuclear subs out. For the guy he's not even the darn president, former president. Again, foolish and inflammatory statements. The Trumpster does that on a hourly basis. Silicon Valley enlists in the business of war. In a major shift, Google, OpenAI, Meta, and venture capitalists, many of whom had once forsworn involvement in war, have embraced the military-industrial complex. Again, this is Detachment 201. That Detachment 201 that none of the cheerleaders have brought up. Has any of the Catholic news groups brought it up? Yes. Anybody in the chat can tell me. Has anybody in the Catholic media sphere brought up Detachment 201? Have they brought up the passport system that came that was last week? Any of this? I don't want to be the only one doing that. That's kind of, again, when people come get after me saying, "Why are you doing this? It's not this platform for doing on." Well, there's no one else bringing it up. I'm bringing it. Storm's coming. Here are some storm clouds. Detachment 201 is that's pretty much what fascism is. You got private companies working with the government for this right here. You have the guys at Google, OpenAI, and Meta as lieutenant colonels in the military, which means if anybody that's watched there in the military, can you tell me what a lieutenant colonel does? The only person that doesn't have they tell them to is the colonel. They're not in the military, but they got lieutenant colonel stats. I mean, how's that not like all over the place right now? We like 8 timeout. We got technocrats that just got taken in and brought in as lieutenant colonels without any military experience, but because they're the code guys, they're in. Palantir's 525% stock surge makes CTO Shaman Shakar the firm's 5th billionaire. And remember, Palantir pretty much running DC right now. Why do we know J.D. Vance? Because of Peter Thiel. Who is Peter Thiel? Started Palantir. But no, we had all the Catholic news guys going, "Hey, we got Catholic in the White House." Anybody want to bring up the Peter Thiel connection? Day one, no one brought that up. Still not doing it. We'll talk about the year all day long, though. It's first-class miracle. Here's director Michael Kratsios. POTUS has commented in making sure we can upskill and retrain Americans for the very important high-paying jobs that will support the infrastructure build-out powering the AI boom. Did you vote for the AI boom? How many, by a show of hands, how many of you have voted for the AI boom? Oh, but remember that video from last week that I talked about when the guy was talking about how they made ordinances that can target specific genomes, DNA, things like that. That that was a colonel of the military next to the guy. They're using it already in Ukraine and in Gaza. What's not to say they can't do that here? Is when they were talking about, people spitting the DNA thing at the 23andMe and they get it. What do you think? That's all that stuff was used for. They lied to you to get that stuff, and then they made all this stuff that can hurt us down the road. Again, all this is in the show notes. Prove me wrong. I'd be happy. Prove me wrong. The Pentagram looks to acquire generative AI for influence activities. RAND. With the Palantir's acquisition of deepfake capabilities and history of assisting Hollywood, distinguishing psyops will be more difficult than ever before. The Pentagon is looking to acquire generative AI for its influence activities as it faces increasing scrutiny about affecting U.S. citizens and acquiring publicly available information, according to RAND Corporation report, commissioned by the Irregular Warfare Technical Support Directorate, IWTSD, if you're nasty. The RAND report, quote, acquiring generative AI to improve U.S. DoD influence activities, takes a look at what it would take for the Pentagram to acquire generative AI for influence activities at scale, along with possible implications of its use. The influence activity is a deliberate attempt to affect a person's or group's thoughts, feelings, or behavior. And the U.S. DoD sees great opportunities in leveraging the power of generative AI, not only for creating deep fakes and propaganda campaigns for its own influence activities, but also for gaining unique insights to its targeted audiences for planning purposes. Here's the link, sociable.co. Check it out. It's in the show notes, alphabetical order. Take a look at it. It's the stuff that's going on. Again, Clown Planet, again. Here's Jason Bassler. Palantir is now worth more than Home Depot, Procter & Gamble, Bank of America, and Coca-Cola. $375 billion market cap, $3.1 billion annual revenue. Palantir secret? A 45% spike in U.S. government surveillance contracts in just a quarter. Just this year, just a quarter of this year. We still got 3 years to go. And not including after, a JD gets in. Holy cow, you talk about having the keys. Palantir joins list of 20 most valuable U.S. companies with stock more than doubling in 2025. Here's Greg Reese talking about AI governance and the agentic state. Again, check it out. It's in the show notes. Great video on this. It describes what the agentic state is. Again, show notes, share it around. Israel forces kill 104 Palestinians in Gaza over 24 hours. This was yesterday. Among the dead were 65 Palestinians killed while attempting to get aid, aka food. Well, I might as well go and check out what. Let's see what the other headlines that anti-war brings up. I got that one coming up. Netanyahu, war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu plans full Israeli occupation for Gaza. 16 more starved to death in Gaza. Ben Gvir leads settler raid on Al-Aqsa Mosque. Ben Gvir is a terrible person too. Another U.S. citizen killed by Israeli settlers in West Bank. U.S. citizen killed by Israeli settlers in West Bank. That'd be an act of war anywhere else. Ukraine wants U.S. to strangle Russian economy. Zelensky demands global push to oust Putin. U.S. strikes al-Shabaab in Somalia during battles, which have been bombing Somalia for the last month. Israeli ground raids in southwest Syria. U.S. moves F-16s closer to the North Korea border. You see, anybody else? You got good news? Well, if you save money by changing your insurance to save money by changing your insurance, then maybe that's some good news. In first, U.S. House Speaker visits the West Bank. Representative Mike Johansson who said he was staying in town with his constituents during the break, arrives in the West Bank. Arrives in the West Bank. Maybe he met his constituents in Israel. Arrives in West Bank alongside members of Congress and U.S. ambassador, meeting with local authorities. It is a great honor for me to be the most senior figure to officially cross the green line. How about that? Look at everybody there. They all have their little hats on too. Isn't that so sweet? There's daughter Sarah Huckabee, because Ambassador Mike Huckabee had posted, and wife and mother Jane Huckabee at the Western Wall to pray at the wall, because it's the praying wall, the praying Western Wailing Wall, the idol of the wall, whatever you want to call it. I wonder what dogs do to the wall. Arrives for trade mission. So you're not, and it's everybody. JD's done it. Trump's done it. You name your politician, they have strike the pose, arm against the wall, close your eyes. Here's a Jerusalem Post. Netanyahu decides on full occupation of Gaza Strip. IDF activity in areas with hostages, PMO says. The Prime Minister office, that's what PMO, conveyed the message to IDF chief, saying it does not suit you. Then if this does not suit you, then you should resign. The war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu, who should be arrested anytime he steps foot anywhere in the world, unless it's the United States of America. They're going to finish the ethnic cleansing one of these days. We're watching a Holocaust in real time in HD, and most people do not care. Trump's efforts to control information echo an authoritarian playbook. In firing the head of the agency that collects unemployment statistics, the president underscored his tendency to suppress facts he doesn't like and promote his own version of reality. That kid, he fired the lady for the numbers. It's like they think she made them up. Trump swoons over Sydney Sweeney amid reports that she's a Republican. So the softcore porn ad. I have good genes. This has been, you talk about distraction. All the nonsense that we just talked about, everyone's hyper focused on this Sweeney thing. And Trump loves her just because she's a Republican. That's all. In sports, LeBron James and business partner plot $5 billion investments to launch rival NBA league. The only way something like that would happen is if it's like the PGA when the Middle East guys got together and made a new golf tournament because they got money coming out of there. You know what? Police nationwide are embracing a new first responder, drones. So again, the police state, which mostly military police anymore, got the military drones. And dozens of U.S. cities, next time you call 911, a drone might show up before an officer does, because that's going to help you unless it's got missiles attached to it. The technology behind that drones as first responder, or DFR if you're nasty, has skyrocketed in popularity among police departments nationwide since the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, streamlined the process for agencies to adopt the program this spring. While it could previously take up to a year to get approval, it now often takes just days. DFR serve as the eye in the sky, police say, streaming footage to officers before they enter a potentially dangerous situation. One of the hardest aspects of policing is that in calls of service, we don't have crystal balls. We don't know what we're getting into. I get that, yes. We don't want this stuff too. El Salvador, that will be used against you anytime. El Salvador's Bukele defends ending term limit. And we talked about this last week. This is the guy that Trump sat with in the Oval Office about, sending illegals down to the worst prison in the history of the world. Pretty much, well, not in the history of the world. That'd be over exaggeration, probably. The worst prison in the world in El Salvador. And now he's going to pretty much run for life. So he defends it by saying 90% of developing countries allow the indefinite re-election of their head of government, and no one bats an eye. But when a small poor country like El Salvador tries the same, suddenly it's the end of democracy. Bukele wrote in English on X. This Hollywood-backed bill would give government power to block websites. The core power to protect creativity could quietly become the internet's kill switch. And it was, as the internet has talked, it was as alternate media has talked about for a while. There has been a I-9/11 for a while. I wonder if this has anything to do with it. Again, all this is in the show notes. Check it out underneath. Former football coach Derek Dooley entering Georgia's Senate race. Dooley's campaign is betting on his newcomer status to win voters. He used to be the coach of Tennessee. And as he says, he's going to go for the political outsider and liken his views on sports to the world of politics. Because in Georgia, it's SEC country. And he's an SEC coach. Should win votes just because of that. Texas Democrats leave state to block GOP from redrawing political map. The walkout was a sharp escalation in the clash over redistricting effort. Governor Greg Abbott, Zionist, threatened to remove the lawmakers who left their posts if they did not return by Monday. You have no right. You're amigo. You're amigo. Teenage U.S. citizen secretly recorded his ICE arrest. What happened? Check it out and show it. I saw this earlier. They get pulled over for just being alive. And when they asked them, they asked questions, and someone said, "Yeah, I'm not illegal. I am illegal." They pulled them all out of the cars, tased them, put them down on the ground, put their knees on their heads, all that stuff, and cuffed them and threw them out. As the guy that videoed it said, "You're not supposed to do this." First, they're not supposed to just pull over just because you look a certain way. And then on top of that, you pretty much just can't tase somebody because they looked at you. And then they said, stop arresting. And pretty much, they could just beat these guys up. And they brag about it because one of the things they're doing is you're getting a bonus for every time you catch one. So they get a bonus for this. At the end of the video, they talk about we're going to end up having to shoot some of these people because they're quote unquote resisting. But if you get pulled down on the ground and have two guys on you, one tasing you and something else, you might. I wonder, anybody in the chat, would you fight back somebody? I bet somebody in the chat will swing. And that would, I get it. If you're unjustly arrested or something like that, you're not going to be happy. This is going to get worse. Speaking of worse, welcome to hell. The Israeli prison system as a network of torture camps. You download the full report right here. This is nuts what goes on here. They have the little thing of how big the prison is or the cells are. It isn't big enough for guys to stand up without putting your elbow out or rubbing up against somebody else, much less lay down. And if they do lay down, they're on a cot with just metal bars, no cushions, the brightest lights on the planet above them. One guy was sent because it's in the equator, right? It's hot. So someone had a headache. And because he went to take a shower or something like that, he got caught. He told his guys to watch out for somebody else, watch out for the guards. Didn't happen. He got caught. They threw him in a hole and just left him there for a while. And that on top of the other things that can't be described on here. Basically said the American dream turned into a nightmare. Chinese buyers flush with cash are swooping in on California homes. Data suggests that these homes are mostly viewed as investment opportunities. You don't say. That's where it comes in with you will own nothing and be happy. Most of the homes now getting pulled up are going as rentals. No one can buy a house right now because the interest rates are high and the amount to buy a house. There's a house not too far, about 10 minutes away, next to the high school here. It's a ranch, just a regular ranch house. If you look, I think we looked up, it was like $150,000 6 years ago. It's going for $600,000. It's just a little ranch house, nothing major. You're talking mansion prices for a ranch house, like 1,500 square foot home or something like that, $600K. And it, obviously, the $1 million home is $3,000. Ooh, what? So Chinese buyers can pop them up, rent. What are you gonna do? The surprising destination luring California transplants with $10,000. So if you go here, they'll give you 10 grand. Oklahoma City, potential transplant, the relocation program, Tulsa Remote, give $10,000 to move to Oklahoma City. Speaking of that, Oklahoma City approves controversial facial recognition deal despite privacy concerns. Good night, everybody. Come to Oklahoma City. We'll give you $10,000 and we'll make sure you're going to be always on camera. Some tourists and business travelers may face up to $15,000 bond to enter these United States. Christy Nome says Alligator Alcatraz to be model for ICE state-run detention centers everywhere on the continental United States of America. They're going to have these things everywhere now. Green card applicant arrested by ICE while driving to the grocery store. And again, on this topic, if the one person is illegal, fine, I get it, arrest them. But can we throw some humanity in this too? I'm just saying. The vast majority of U.S. adults are stressed about grocery costs, says AP poll. No kidding. Water is wet too. The vast majority of U.S. adults are at least somewhat stressed about the cost of groceries, the new poll finds, as prices continue to rise. I was told by the Trump administration that gas is going down, grocery prices going down. Oh, they just care about eggs. And everything else going down. Happy days are back again. Now, gas down the street in South Carolina, where it's 30 cents cheaper in North Carolina because of taxes. That's $2.80 the other day. I haven't seen anything gone down. In grocery store, you can get the midget cart and not fill that thing up and get to $100 easily. Again, I grow my own food and it costs. Drivers going 1 mile per hour below speed limit could face jail under state's new law. The new driving laws are being put in place in Louisiana, affecting phone use, left lane driving, window tinting, and insurance requirements. Across the board in South Carolina, they just passed a law that you can't hold. Obviously, it's just like common sense thing. Not, you get pulled over or ticketed for, texting and driving. Shocker, I mean. In weather, National Hurricane Center watching multiple hot spots in the Atlantic. And if you look at it, they pretty much say 0% chance of anything happening. We're in the letter D's, by the way. I actually was just talking about this with my wife a minute ago. I was saying, I haven't heard nothing about a hurricane in a while. Right now, last week at this time, it was 100 degrees where I'm at. 100 degrees and not a drop was humid as anything. No rain. This week, it hasn't broken 75 in the last 4 days, and it hasn't stopped raining. No humidity either. Plastic causing disease and death from infancy to old age. That costs $1.5 trillion a year, report warns. Survey reveals the number one reason Americans stay up late, and it's not Netflix. It's basically most Americans climb into bed at 10:36 p.m., but don't fall asleep until around 11:18. If I get in bed, say at 11, I'm gone at 11:05. On average, it takes about 40 minutes to drift off. Don't take me 40. With 3 mornings per week marked by regret over not getting to bed earlier. Common reasons for staying up include unfinished chores, savoring quiet nighttime hours, and avoiding the next workday. Nearly half the couple share a bed, but only 49% say they sleep better that way. Snoring and tossing partners are top disruptors. Back to school season brings earlier wake-up nights and later nights for parents, with over half anticipating worse sleep. If you have a problem for sleep, I make a sleep tincture. Dr. Nicole makes one. I learned how to make one from them. It's just like, it's got passion. I got the things right here: passion flower, valerian root, chamomile. Well, I have to look at the recipe. I got it in there. I use it all the time. It's good, healthy too. It's natural. Can't get hooked on it. And if you take that thing out, I mean, you can get somebody in a deep sleep real quick. Not governor. Oh, that's a Freudian slip. Nancy Mace is just officially announced that she is running for governor of South Carolina. So I don't live in South Carolina anymore. It's my home state. It's my patria. I miss it. It's a mile down the road for me. I feel better when I'm there. There's no chance she's going to win that. Even though the last couple of days she's like, I got important news coming out. Everyone, their brother knew. Stevie Wonder, well, that's not a bad good. Ray Charles saw that coming. Anyways, I went 10 minutes over. Sorry, I was going a little too fast. Just the important stuff was at the beginning. Everything's underneath in the show notes. Check it out. Tell your friends about it. Somebody just mentioned I saw Black Pill Monday, Catholics. Let's get out of the veil pill. Christopher, I could black pill anybody easily. I didn't even come close to black pilling. There's some stuff on there that I could bring up if I really wanted to dig deep in. That could really, really get some people off the charts. But it's more like get the information out. We can't, no one's talking about it. Somebody's got to bring the info, got to shine the light on this stuff. Again, show notes, check it out, share it with your friends. With this video and others, click like, subscribe, all the show notes stuff is underneath. The real stuff that's on the channel, the sermons, things like that, click like, subscribe, comment. The algorithm is still getting kicked because 2 videos got knocked down last week. Hey, if I'm not black pilled and I know more of this stuff than all y'all do, and I'm getting punished on YouTube and all that, and I still smile, you can still smile. Anyway, God love you. Have a great rest of the day. See you tomorrow. Thank you as always. And yeah, thank you.